Hey guys, how's it going? So we're almost there. We had to fix a few more things in the PHP code, in the C and in the C++ code, and we had to touch up the JavaScript as well. So it was a party, but you're gonna get all those fixes when you download this stuff. And if you run into trouble in the future, then hopefully there's gonna be enough of a community that you guys can share how to go about fixing things or dealing with different versions of things and so forth. Anyway, so we're going to document how we configure Apache in this session, and we're going to configure PHP, which we have not done yet. But before we do that, what I want to do is to be able to access the web server that we put in the little computer inside our big computer, right? This purple window here. I want to be able to access that from my Windows machine. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you had a Mac, it is similar. It's just a different file in a different location, but how you deal with it is similar. So I'm going to show you for the Mac because that's where I'm recording this. So let's go and bring up a search, and let's search for Windows host file location. There you go. And let's go to this guy. There we go. This is the location. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to minimize it. And now to edit that hosts file, you need admin rights. It's just the way it is. The different ways to do this, the simplest way that anybody with Windows will be able to do is I'm going to search for Notepad. And I'm going to, I'm going to click on it and say run as administrator. I'm going to click OK, and this is my notepad that I'm running as administrator. So I'm going to say file, open, and I'm going to go to that location. And in that location, I'm going to say all files, and there is my hosts. So I'm going to open this file, and I already made the changes, but these are the 4 lines that I added. So these are the changes that I made. FilmAf.edu, www.filmaf.edu, ash, so whatever your collection name or whichever collection you want to access, you're going to have to put it here. And the reason for that is because that's something called a subdomain, and in principle you could be going to a different machine with it. So whatever collections, just put them here. And dv1.us, because that is what we call where the pictures are, right? So all of them are pointing to that first IP address that we saw in probably video 1, and that's it. That's all the entries. Actually, I'm curious to see if you can do wildcard domain in Windows hosts. Wildcard domain Windows hosts file. Oh. Is there a way? So that's my question. Answers. There is not. Ha. So there you go. Right, so you need, if you want to do a wildcard domain, apparently you need a different you need that. Sorry, you may need a different some sort of software, because on its own it doesn't support it. I'm curious to see if it supports on Linux. Wildcard domain. So Linux host file. I guess the answer is no. So there are ways to do wildcard domains, but you need additional software, additional configuration to do both in Windows and Linux, apparently. Okay, so let's stick with our, and you're gonna need if you're gonna maintain your titles, meaning you're gonna add new titles, you're gonna edit the titles, you're gonna need some sort of a moderator account to approve the changes or to make the changes directly. Ash is a super moderator. He can do everything that the moderators can do, plus a couple other things that can be very disruptive for the site. Like it can merge titles. You have title A and title B. You can get two titles and merge everything into title A, and that obviously affects the collection of everybody on the site that had title B, because now they're all going to be updated to having title A and so forth. So there are a few pieces of functionality like that that you need to be Ash in order to have access and have that work. Now, if your collection is, say, my collection or my name, right? So you would put your name over here, .filmaf.edu, and now you'll be able to access your collection. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to. And you're going to have to make the corresponding change in the Linux hosts file as well. So if you remember, we already did some of those changes. So I'm going to go here. I think it's etc hosts. Yeah. Ping, ping, ping. There you go. So you see over here, the format is slightly different. I'm not sure if Windows support there's a bunch of domains like on the same line or not. You can experiment with that, but if you put them in individual lines, they're going to work. So if there were additional collections that you wanted to see, like your own collection, you would create an entry here in Windows or Mac, and you would create an entry here in Linux, unless you're very sophisticated and you know how to do wildcard domains, which I do not. All right, so let's save this guy. And if you had not opened this file hosts from an administrator with administrator privileges, you would get an error. Right? So that's all done. And now what you can do is you can start your browser. You can go to filmaf.edu and the website will be there if you did everything right. And then you can, hold on, go away. Where is this? I'm gonna log out. Yes, log me out. And I'm gonna log in. And I'm gonna log in as Ash. And the password is not required. Okay, this is your own copy of Film Aficionado. You can log in as whoever you want, as long as you made that change in the host files in both the VM, the little computer inside the bigger computer, and the change in the host files of the big computer. So it's your own copy. There is no password. If you know, whoever is hosting this to the public in the future, they would have to go in and make changes. And the reason for that is because for privacy reasons, we removed your email address. There was a field for you to put your email address. That has been wiped out. And your password hash. A password hash, it's not your password itself. Like, we don't know what your password is, but if you type the right password, we run the same formula and it gives us the same result. So that allows you to authenticate you. In principle, you could, you know, it's reasonably safe, but because you might forget your password, there's no way for you to reset it. So might as well not have a password. Anyway, so you log in as whoever you want. I'm going to log in as Ash, and my password is not required. And I'm going to say, remember me. And you log in, and you can go to my collection. and you can go and see your Blu-ray DVDs or whatever. However it is that you organize your collection, it is going to be here, right? And this is pretty much out of the box with what we did in the previous videos. The only thing that we configured really was Apache and MySQL. So in the Windows, open this file, and the file name is hosts. In Notepad as an administrator, and or any other editor or the editor of your preference. If you use Notepad++, something interesting happens. So you go to Notepad++, you say File, Open, and I'm gonna go here, Hosts. I'm gonna open it because you can read, you just can't write. So I'm gonna remove this line. I'm gonna save, and to say this file cannot be saved and it may be protected. Do you want to launch Notepad++ in administrator mode? And if you say yes, it launches it in administrator mode, and now you can delete that line and you'll be able to save the file. Right, so Notepad++ has a much nicer way for you to edit a file as an administrator. Just figure I would show you. No. All right, we're done. And we're done with the Windows Club too. Okie dokie. So then we did this. We say open in Notepad as an administrator or a preference, and add the following domain lines plus additional lines. I can type for the collections or moderator IDs you wish to use. Make the same changes in the virtual machine where the server is running on the on the et/etc hosts file the virtual machine where this server is running. Okay, I'm just going to change this styles. Where's normal? Normal, there you go. And then over here I'll put this guy, and these are the entries. Okay, so we're done with this. Make sure this guy is replaced with the IP address of the second network adapter we created in the earlier video when setting up the machine. Okay, and I think here we go. That's where you have that IP address. As a matter of fact, here we should have, it's gonna, I made the same comment over here. Let's say here, make a note of the IP address you give that card. In our case, that is bank. So that's going to give you some references to find out where that came from. Okay, so when you get this document, but then you already have the video, so whatever. Right, now let's just copy the Apache configuration that we created and put it here. So I'm going to say configure Apache. And this is styles setting 2. So Apache, if you remember, was in, if I remember, what is it? Cd etc Apache 2, that's it. So instead of having a single file like some of the distributions have, Ubuntu has a bunch of files, so you have to chase them around. Okay. So this is the main file, and I'm just going to put the whole path because that way when you will know what that is in your notes. Here, that's with behind this guy. All right, so minus R is read only because what I'm going to do is I am going to replace these comments with nothingness. Stop thinking, just do it. There you go. So this are my settings, and I'll just copy these suckers and make this smaller. Well, if I make it smaller, you're not going to be able to see. So I just copy it in twice. So that is, come on guy. Copy, come here, here's the sucker. And now just a couple more lines. User agent, so only 2 more lines. Copy. So that's the parent file that calls all the others in. Just gonna make this here. And if you run into trouble, you'll be able to use this and compare with what you have and figure out where things went wrong. Plenty of places for things to go wrong. Let's quit this. And so we looked at this guy, Apache Conf. This you're not going to have because this is for Subversion. PHP and we haven't touched. We just copy, if you remember when we installed PHP, we copy a standard PHP file to this location. And so we need to go sites available, right? or sites enabled rather. So in sites enabled, we know that this is the guy that we edited. So I'm just gonna do a vi sites enabled. This is the guy. And we're gonna run the same command here. Get rid of the comments and then get rid of the empty lines and go to the top. Oh, this guy over here, let me put space star. There you go. Get rid of the comments that are in the second line. All right, so this are the entries that we want to capture. I'm just going to put them here. Copy. There. And then over it, let me just... 05 is the last one. I'm not going to scroll too much because I don't want to mess up. So 05, I don't want to skip something, rather. Okay, copy. Okay, so stop at HTML. So as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff that gets configured. And most of it is important. All right, that's the end of it. All right, so when you run into trouble, you can compare this and you know, some of these, rather, that's not correct. What happens is when you're doing your installation, you compare whatever is in the guide with what you have, and like these entries, they're not going to be in your installation because you didn't put them there. They don't, you know, you're going to have to do it yourself. And here is quit, exclamation point. And I'm going to copy this guy. Remove the minus out because otherwise you're not going to be able to save it, right? So that's, you did the main configuration file. We did the two sites, the dvdaf and the dv1.us. And now I think in mods available or enabled, I'm not sure if there are any changes. So let me go to mods available os minus lt. There's more. So we added PHP load apparently. This is Subversion, you're not going to have that. Everything else from the date here, you see that that is the installation, because we are in October and these are dated April, so we didn't touch those. So let me just see what's in PHP 5 load, and that's just the location. So this is updated by the make install command when you compile PHP. So that's not us doing it manually, it's us running that script. Okay, so that is the end of the Apache configuration. Now we need to do the PHP configuration, which should be interesting because PHP. That's weird. I thought we had configured Apache before, but maybe we didn't capture all the changes. No, we just did this. We just did very basic stuff. Yeah, we installed it. Yeah, we didn't. Actually, we did not configure it. I may have done it without recording the video or something. Or maybe I recorded the video and I didn't paste what they were. But let's say configure video. Now configure PHP. Oops, wrong place. So if you remember, what we did was we put the PHP file ini in the same directory as the Apache configuration because it's just easier for us to do it that way. And how can I do this? Let me put this here. I'm going to create another terminal. And I'm going to move it here. And in here, I'm going to go to boom, 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 boom. Let me remove that Google Chrome thing. All right, gone. I think it's at our install. What I'm looking for is the snapshot of the configuration files of the server where this was running in production. So there you have it. And it should be this guy. The CLI is for the command line. And this is for the website. So just going to take a quick look at this. And you can see what the different options are. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to compare with this PHP. Before I start messing with it, copy this guy with today's date. And today is what? 15. Oh, I don't have rights, so I'm gonna go root. And copy that. And now I'm gonna edit the PHP file. Hopefully it's in the same sequence, because otherwise it's a lot of, this is all comes. Okay, there we go. First one, engine on. Engine on. Come on, up, up, up. There you go. Engine on here, engine on here. Short open tag on. Short open tag is the. Oh, we still have this here. This is the short. Oh, sorry. This is the short open tag, as opposed to the one that says PHP. ASP tags off. Precision 14. All right. So I'm gonna go in this guy and insert. We got all of this. Now, Y2K compliance is not there. Really? We're still talking about Y2K compliance? I don't think that's needed, really. This is like 20 years after Y2K, really. Output buffering. All right, so this is important. We need a bigger output buffer. There you go. Oops. Output handler. So this, I'm gonna change it because, you don't need it. We change it because for web server traffic, it zips it before it sends it. I think. But for your installation, if you're doing like just a VM, you don't need it, so leave it alone. Output compression off. Implicit flush off. Unserializable callback function empty. Serialize precision 17. Now disable function is all the way here. What happened to all the other things? All right, so I'm gonna leave this alone, and maybe it's a different location in the file, maybe deprecated, I don't know. So disabled functions. All right, so I'm gonna leave it empty because here's the thing. If you're running this as a real web server, you would want to disable all of these things because they are potential vulnerability, because they execute commands or access things that they shouldn't in your computer without proper vetting. FilmAf does not need that because we have our own functions that we created that vet exactly what commands are being issued, and if it's a strange command, it's not going to execute it. However, if you decide to use this server for anything else other than PHP, you wouldn't be able to use these functions, and you're going to go crazy trying to figure out why they're not working. So I'm not going to disable it because under the assumption that you're running this on a VM only for your own amusement, and therefore you don't have to protect yourself against hackers. Okay. All right, so I'm going to leave this as is. Disable class is nothing. Zend enable GC on. That's cool. Let's do here. One down. Expose PA is P on. Okay. Max execution time 30. That's fine. Max input time 60. Memory limit 128 megs. That's fine. And error reporting. Where do you go? All right. Your error, I'm going to leave with the defaults, and the other errors are going to go to that PHP error file in your root directory of your server. So you'll be able to see, they don't show up in the page itself because that's very disruptive. And also the error messages, they give information as to where things are in the website, even though that's public domain now because everybody can download the website. But anyway, error reporting, I'm going to leave with these defaults, meaning you're going to see more error messages than normal or that we had initially set up. Display errors off, meaning not on the page. Display startup errors off. Page down. Log errors on. Log errors max length 1024. Ignore repeated errors off. Ignore repeated source off. Report memory leaks on. Right. Track errors off. HTML errors off. I'm going to leave it on because, again, it's going to be more helpful if you're not familiar with the types of errors that you would be getting on the site itself. We had it as off. All right, there we go. Error pre-pending screen. All right, so this I'm going to change because when you load the error file, it's helpful to have some color. And it finishes with spam. There you go. All right, so the error log, that's the important part. Oh, it's not going to be FilmAf, obviously, because we changed the location. But error log here is going to be where, in this case, what happened was that I wanted to be able to see what the errors were by just loading the file on the website. And this was granted, the access to this was granted only for specific IP addresses. So what we're doing here, the error log is, I think it's var. Where is this thing? Hold on, let me get the location of the site. It had www page. All right, there you go. Fuck, that wasn't helpful. Okay, var HTML okay, www. Okay, let's get that. That's the location. So it's going to be on the root of the server. Var www HTML PHP errors.html. All right, very good. Variable order, that I don't know what it is. Just left as default. Request order GP default. Register globals. That is not there. Okay. Okay, so it jumped to these two guys, register globals and register long arrays are off. That didn't show up in the new configuration file template. So they may have been deprecated. We can search for it later. All right, auto globs JIT is on. Post max size, so that's important. We need to change that to 20. So it's 20 max. Oops. Magic quotes. Well, those don't exist anymore, I guess. Auto prepend, auto append, empty, empty. Default meme or mime, not sure. All right, so all that is the same. Doc root and user directory, oops, empty. Extension directory is not there. Right, enable DL off. File uploads on. Now that is important. So this is where we got that error. See, upload temporary directory is that must be in this place. And as you remember, we have a different root for the server, which is here. So we're gonna change that to where the new root is. That's why we got that error when we tried to upload a picture that I showed you earlier. So this has been updated. Max file size to max. Max file uploads 20. I'm wondering whether 2 max is too small. Let's make it 4, because things have, resolutions have gotten higher these days. So allow URL open on, URL include off, socket timeout 60. So all that is good. And escape. Let's see if we have anything else here. CLI server, I do not know what that is. It's probably some new feature. Date, filter, empty, PDO MySQL. We're not using PDO. Not sure why that was set up there. Oh, PDO MySQL. Here we go. That's where we are. Here we go. 2000 default socket default. Mail function localhost 25. Your mail, in all likelihood, is not going to work. And the configure mail is really pain in the ass because of spam and all the protections that the mail services try to implement. So don't ask me, because we never figured that out. And send mail path. Again, if you're going to configure mail, you're going to do your own thing here. That is, if you're running this just as a VM for your own use, there's no reason to. At least within the website. Mail at X header on. About that, again, I'm not going to touch anything related to mail. SQL safe mode off. Okay, so let me. These we did not. This we did. Oh my God. All right, so ODBC we don't use, Interbase we don't use, SQL we use, SQLi we do not. Let's take a quick look at these. SQL is working, I'm not sure why. All right, let's just do a quick look at it. Allow local in file. I'm gonna leave it on. If you're running a website, you have something else here probably. On. Cache size 2000. I just want to see if there are any timeout 60 and trace mode off. All right, that's good enough. We don't use SQLi, that's a different interface. We don't use any of this. Sybase session. I don't think any of this is useful for us. Because we don't use the session, we have our own session management. Because I don't even know if this existed when the server was put together, or the website was put together. On -1 10 off. All right, everything I'm going to leave it alone. You're not going to need xdebug. Well, you will. I'm going to leave it alone. This is if you're going to do PHP development, you want xdebug. And you're going to have to figure out how to set that up, because that's beyond our scope here. All right, so that's right. Quit. quit. And this is our PHP configuration. Let's see if it works. If it works, we'll do the same thing. So service, oops, wrong window. Service Apache 2 stop start. All right, didn't give us an error. Invalid or corrupted. So I'm just going to show you where that message is coming from so that you'll be able to work your way through when you run into this in real life. Right. So we're using PHP Storm. I think there is a free version of PHP Storm. I'm not quite sure. Very nice software. Anyway, if we go, here we go. So we know it's 1151, the code, which relates to the line. And if I knew nothing of the site, right, I would come here and say, okay, is under utils xpic edit. And X is because we were going to get rid of it. So obviously that did not happen. So it is going to be, where was it again? Utils xpic edit. So you would go under utils, find xpic edit, and over here you would see, okay, first thing we do in this little script is bark. Gosh. All right, so identify.php finds out where we are, if we were in development server, if we are in a production server. Initialize it when we were running multiple copies of databases. You would, maybe it was here, maybe it was some other place, but we would figure out if you're doing an update or if you're just retrieving data. If you're retrieving data, when was the last time that you wrote an update, and so that you would pick from the right database and allow the data to be propagated between different instances and all that. But anyway, just leave it alone, don't touch it. And the other thing it finds the root for where the scripts are, because that varies from server to server. So over here, we know that the only thing this is doing from our perspective is loading this file, zip picture edit, and then creating the object. So pick edit.php is where the stuff is happening. So libx. So we're gonna minimize this. I'm gonna go to libx, and I'm gonna zip pick edit. C is for class, and there you go. So that's the guy, right? So it told us 1151. So you can go here and try to find 1151. 1151, here you go. So this is where it's coming from. So it's saying, tell the user that in this line, 1151, we have this error message failed to process. So when it does its thing, come on guy. When it does its thing, that's the so that code is expanded. Sorry, the picture upload seems to be invalid or corrupted. And I don't think it's invalid or corrupted. But this guy, gosh, okay, so now we're actually debugging. Oh, gosh, excitement. So remember when I told you that we don't we use our own functions to filter what the commands that we issue are. So that's one of those. So let's see what the error was. And in this environment, you do not have to save your file. It automatically saves. So Let's see what it says. This is not a PNG. Ah, shoot. That's what happened. PNG is not a supported image type. There should be a better message. Who wrote this thing? Well, why isn't PNG a supported image type? So that was the error. The picture you uploaded seems to be invalid or corrupted. It's invalid because the PNG and the site, when it was written, didn't know PNG existed because the site was written 20 years ago. So that's the deal. All right. Let's see what we can do about that. So where is that coming from? That is coming from the script itself. So we'll go to var wht. So that's our root. And cd shell, which is where the things are. And does it say what the name of the script is here? Identify upload. Let's see what identify upload does. Here we go. So that is echo usage. All right. There we go. So what I'm going to do here is PNG. What's oops. Let's grep for JPEG. The two places, social pictures. We're not gonna be doing social pictures because obviously it's only running on your machine. But let's just fix the script since we might as well since we're here. All right. Continue. Ta-da! So that was the thing. So this worked. Let me go back to, right, so that's your picture here. That, you know, it was just a random picture that I did. And it's hard to see because I'm capturing this screen in a very small, to begin with, I uploaded a picture that was too large, right? Duh. But, and the screen happens to be, I'm capturing the screen a small resolution. But since we're here, I'm going to run you through this. So you have some general information here, a picture type and who rolls a copyright, when it was copyrighted, whether it is a restricted or NC-17 image. And this obviously is calculated based on what you uploaded. And if there's a caption to this image, what that caption is. If you have notes, so for whoever is going to process your submission, since you're running this on your own machine, you're likely to process your own submission. And then this part here is where it starts to be important. DVDs, they have each of these guys have a specific aspect ratio. So a DVD will have whatever you see here on the right hand side as an aspect ratio. When you select the Blu-ray and you say preview, enter justification. Okay, test. When you say preview, it goes in, and you can see it squished in the format because the Blu-rays, they're shorter in height, right? They're shorter. And when we go with DVDs, preview, they're taller. You know, see, taller, shorter. And if it is a movie frame, then you do different, you know, because you have bars on the side because we standardize in the movie frame pictures being 16 by 9, and it behaves accordingly. If it's a poster, it doesn't do anything to the aspect ratio. So whatever aspect ratio you uploaded, it remains untouched. And if it is a white cover DVD, that's interesting. Why we don't have white covers Blu-rays? I don't know. It adds a little border around it. So obviously you can't see it here because it's not white. But if it were white, you would see a very subtle gray border around the white. So in this case, this is just a test. We'll say it's a, I don't know, movie poster. Oh, and if it's a 3D picture, also we keep the aspect ratio. Like the pictures are usually when the things show sideways. Right, then you do that. Now the other settings, I should have uploaded a smaller picture. You can rotate this image, right? So you can rotate usually you rotate very little, but let's say to make it a point, I'm going to rotate by 10 degrees. Or actually, I'm going to rotate by 45 degrees, right? I'm going to preview, and that image is going to be rotated by 45 degrees. So you can see that that castle is in trouble, all right? And you can do negatives or whatever, or you can rotate in pixels. So you can rotate in X pictures. So I'm going to bring it 3 pixels up, or 3 is too few, 100, because you're not going to see, but usually it would be a very small amount. Preview is going to rotate a little bit, so I up 100 pixels on this side, right here, X, and so this is 0. The other things you can do is you can remove margins. This picture doesn't have any margins, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to say that the left margin is 100 pixels. Oops, not 1,000. The right margin is 100, 100, and 100. So it's going to be much smaller when I preview it. And there you have it. So you can see over here the tower is kind of cropped. And in the original picture, the tower is here. So you got 100 pictures from this side and cropped the image. And what else we can do? And then you can change the gamma. What if I do 2? It says Y correction. What is this? Gamma is usually to change. I clicked on the question mark. Gamma is used to change the midpoint balance between light and dark. It makes the whole picture lighter or darker. It can be used in its own or in combination with the black point and white point parameters. And 2 should make this picture much lighter, but something, preview. So you can see this picture compared with this picture. The picture here is much lighter. 0.5, that would be an insane change as well. Preview. It's much darker, right? Compare this with this. Now the white point and the black point, so 1 is no change. The white point is going to bring out the highlights. So if I make, I'm going to exaggerate, make 80 and preview. You can see that, some of these highlights are blown. You see the tower here, a lot of it seems to be blown. So let me just make it bigger change, 60. And preview. See, now you can really see everything is blown out. The detail is blown. You can see over here, gone. And the black point is the opposite. So the shadows are gonna get darker. So that is going to be dirty. There's gonna be a terrible picture now. Preview. So you can see that the darker parts, I made them much darker, and the lighter parts, I made them much lighter. So that's the changes that we can do here. And they exist because not everybody has Photoshop, and there's going to be photoshopping pictures before they upload them. So they can use this, or the moderators can use this to try to fix any hiccups that you have with the picture. So I'm going to go back, and there's no reset. I got reset. Here we go. So reset this. I'm going to say this is a poster. Where's my poster? And preview, and it looks okay. Well, I would probably edit this to remove some of the haze, but for the purposes of this, it's good to go. And I'm gonna save. Okay, and that's it. So I go here, I can see, okay, this is my current, for this listing, which is submission, not processed yet. A picture is not available because there is no picture associated with the listing yet, because the listing still has to be approved. And you propose a new picture with this one. And you could add a new picture. You could have a bunch of pictures. So you can have the DVD cover, the poster, and all that. And all of them are going to get uploaded here. Right? And over here, you could go in, and you can just say, show larger picture. So that is for the website, this is what we would consider a larger picture. And then you can edit, or you can withdraw a request. Withdraw the request, obviously, is going to delete it, right? So that's that. So that's what we did was we submitted a listing, and we submitted a picture that goes with that listing. Right? Now, let me minimize this, guys. Now, what I'll do is I'll log in as a moderator. So now I'm Abacus. I'm going to go in and yes, log me out. I'm going to sign in as Ash. And remember me, yes. And then over here under my contribution, I can go and say submission processing. And these are all the pending submissions. Some of these are from where the site went down. I approved some, but I left some in here so you guys can get some practice. And where is Abacus? This is the first 200. We have more than 200 here. Alright, so let me see. Yeah, this is only goes to 8.3, so we have more than 200. That's why it doesn't show. So we have to clean this up a little bit. But we can take a look at this one for demonstration purposes. So let's reveal this guy. All right, so this was submitted in July 27th. So this is like a week before the site shut down by Jordan something GLC. And so he submitted this listing, and as you can see, he provided the information he provided is on the left side. The information that we're going to save is on the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, approve all. So it copies everything from the left to the right. So how do some of these work? So it's a trip to Cuba is the name of the title. You can come here, so show larger picture. You can see the picture he uploaded. I'm assuming it's a he. And okay. And then over here you have different search strings. You can say, okay, let's see if this title is already in Film Aficionado. So I highlight whatever it is that I want to search for, and I do, and that exists as a film listing. You see over here, film, right? He is submitting this as a DVD or a DVD-R. And so the other thing you can do is you can come here and that, oops, Control Z. I can search for, no, it's not 3-by, it's 2-by to Cuba, sorry. And you can search on IMDb, and a tuba to Cuba is here. It's 2018, and it has an IMDb ID of, 54784, whatever that number is, 446. So you would when the moderators got this, they would go in here and say, okay, does it exist in IMDb? Yes. And typically you would expect the person to provide the link. So over here you see the IMDb ID. You can come in and click on this, and that's going to bring you to that list. So I'm going to close this so you can see it open. You click here, it's going to open to that ID and says, yes, this guy provided the right information in terms of IMDb ID. You can cross-reference Harrington and Lynch in the Clinch here, and Theo Harrington and Danny Clinch, TG. So that's an error. So you would come here and reply and fix it. Or you would reject the submission and say, come on, guy, go away. And did you hear Danny Clinch? All right. And to make sure that you have it right, you can search the directory to see. So this is t.g. Harrington. Apparently this guy is not here. Let's try to find him. T.O. Harrington. That is weird. Right, so if you over IMDb says TG, over here we have as a TO. Why is that? Maybe it's I don't know who is right, who is wrong. I'm gonna leave that to you. Maybe I don't know what. Right. Let's leave it TO, and then I'm going to show you how to change, because let's assume that this should really be TJ, because I don't know the guy. And now over here you would, you could also check to say, is Danny Clinch here? So you go Danny Clinch. Yeah, that's here. So if you click, it's going to copy that data here. So we established that the directors are right. We established that the IMDb is right. I don't know how you can establish this. Usually when a submission is provided, the person that provides it has to provide a link for the information to be verified for things like, for example, the list price. I saw a lot of submissions by Jordan, so maybe he's past that point where the moderators trust him. All right, so we checked what else? The UPS code, UPC code. You click here, it validates the UPC. There's a check digit in this string, so it just validates it. Doesn't mean it is the correct one, it's just a valid one. And here is a link to Amazon. You can go in here and validate that this listing actually exists. It says the DVD. And over in the submission, he said DVR, so that is probably incorrect. So we'll fix that. So we checked Amazon. He didn't put a product code for the studio. We're gonna let it slide. And this we validated. Number of titles and discs you would cross-reference with Amazon. It's one disc. Obviously, it's one title. And Blue Fox Entertainment's over here. The same thing that we validated the director, we would validate here as Blue Fox Entertainment. So that is the right. So that's how we avoid misspellings. The DVD release date, November. you know, you would validate that somehow. Release status current. Well, it was in 2019, so yeah, it is current. It's a US DVD. You could have multiple countries here. Region 0. And this is documentary entertainment. You know, you would have to look at the title, see what it's about, and validate that that is the correct genre. And if it's a different genre, you would choose it from here. And English is the language, and if there were multiple languages, you would put the multiple languages here. And then when was the film released? There you go, and you cross-reference that with IMDb, because in IMDb, you would have when it was released, 15th of February 2019. So you go here. It's a different date. All right, so that is where things start to get complicated, because what's the release date? And it could be released in a festival as opposed to in theaters. It could be released in multiple countries. It gets complicated, so a real moderator would have a way to figure this out. And the release year is 2018. So all of this looks good, and we fixed a couple of things that we didn't like. The one thing, the TO Harrington, that needs to be changed, and we're going to change that globally. And so this looks all good. I'm going to say approve all. And meaning, I don't know why it says all, right? Whatever. Okay, so that's approved. It created a new DVD. I'm going to open this as a new window, and you can see here, tuba to cuba, a, and with the information was provided. So I'm going to close this. Go back here. Now that I saved the listing, I can go to the picture, right? How do I do this? I forgot. I think you go to options here and edit and approve picture. So I'm going to edit and approve picture. So this is what he provided. All right. And he's telling us that is the DVD cover. And I guess we'll trust him for now. And this picture looks pretty good. You know, it has the color looks good. I don't need to change the gamma or the white points. I don't need to rotate. I don't need to do anything with it. It looks pretty good. And again, I select the right aspect ratio, which for DVD this is correct. And then you just say approve. Right? So now this image is saved, and what you can see here is this is the DVD ID. I think D stands for this being either I don't really remember. I think it is either for a film, either for a DVD or a Blu-ray, it's a D. And 0 is the number of the pictures, that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever. So now, you know, this is the listing. You created it, or you approved the submission somebody else created. And you can see this was uploaded by Jordan on July 7th, and I approved by Ash on 10/15. And so if I go now, I'm going to close the picture management and Amazon and IMDb and this other guy. And so now if I go here under index, I have other submissions that have not been processed. I have submissions that have been rejected. There's nothing has been rejected in the past 10 days. I have what has been approved, so I approved these earlier. Direct edits, if you are Ash, I think, you can go in and edit the DVD directory without going through the submission process. For everybody else, we may go through the submission process because we wanted an audit trail. And these are the pending submissions. I do not know how many there are, but apparently because we haven't seen the one that we created earlier, there are more than 200. because you know it's in ascending order and it finishes in August 3rd. And this website went down, I think, on August 5th. All right, so that is the submission processing. And now over here, we can go in and search for tuba or kuba. Wasn't that the thing? I'm going to search for tuba. I thought it was tuba for kuba. Tuba to kuba, not for kuba. Anyway, so here's the film. And tuba, I'm going to say media. Yeah. How do I do this? I think, I don't remember. There are many extras. Okay, tuba to kuba. It shows only one. All right, so we are missing. There are some processes in the server that run to update these indices that we use to get results. And for some reason, they are not running, so we have to fix that. I think there are store procedures that we need to create. So I'm going to look into that. This video is already very long, so I'm going to stop now. But this gives you an idea of how to submit titles, how to submit pictures, how to approve titles, how to approve pictures, how to, when you're getting an error, how to go into the code and mess around, try to find what's going on and all of that. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.